Welcome to Grid, how to estimate renovations. We're happy to have you here tonight. We meet every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sorry, the first Tuesday of every month, not every Tuesday. You'd be lonely most of the month. First Tuesday every month, we meet at 6 p.m. And this is an investor education. It's always going to be free. We're never selling anything in the back of the room. And we always start off with just an introduction, telling you who we are, what we're doing, and some ground rules so we all know what to expect and to get the most out of this. Cory, our fearless leader who is on vacation, joining us through the wonders of technology. Tell us about yourself. Who are you? Why do you run this group? What do you want to accomplish with these fine people, and how can they connect with us? I can cover that last part.
Sure. Well, yeah, definitely. Thanks everybody for kind of joining us today. Yeah, biggest thing, I mean, looking to get out of this is just to really continue deepening connections, deepening relationships and opportunities for everyone out there is really the primary goal. You know, huge believer in the a rising tide, you know, raises all ships. The more educated we can all be, the better off we and the marketplace really are at the end of the day. So super grateful just kind of have everybody here with us today.
Love it. So, yeah, my name is Justin Myers. I am the director of sales for the Hartstrong Home Group here. We do a little bit, we're a little unique in the market. So the business partner, Jamie, is a builder, he's a commercial agent, and we kind of sat in that space for a long time of where we're personally investing. We're doing builds, doing spec homes, we're doing kind of high-end renovations. Both Cory and I are doing a flip together right now. I'm doing some infill development spec homes, which I think is a really great market. The model on it's the same right now. It's like 40% profit. If you've got the GC and you can get the materials and get stuff done, you can be well rewarded. We found some kind of ways to get around some of those at the margins in the market. So why do we do this? Well, we are genuine. There's a reason why I came at you, right? We're genuine believers in collective contribution, right? And I know a lot of agents, a lot of people in this market, right? The fastest path to creating wealth is not through selling real estate, it's through investing in real estate. I was really skeptical when I was younger about that. I thought realtors would say a lot of things that's going to be very self-serving. And I flipped it around where I'm like, nope, actually home ownership is the key to having like a thriving middle class. And if you're investing long-term for over, let's say 30 years, it's almost impossible to lose money in real estate. It really is. I'm going to leave you with this anecdote. There's a guy who runs this group, and he said he timed the market in 2007. He sold all of his investments, and he felt so smart. And he was dying out on that story for a long time, right? Like, wow, I missed the market. Now he looks back at all that stuff, and he kept it. He's like, I could have retired already because of the rebound that's come out of those things. Had he just held it, he didn't need to. And that's an interesting one, how to live through the last correction and possibly heading into a market correction now. Is if you're buying long term, just listening to Gary Keller, he said, and he's been the one predicting the market shifting. He said, if you buy anywhere in the country and you're willing to hold 10 years, you can buy right now, anywhere in the country. Because when you compare housing to all other asset classes, it is undervalued. The cost of housing has gone down 24%, adjusted for inflation since 1989. Cars have gone up 30%. It's a 50% gap as an asset class, right? So really excited about that. That's why we believe in creating millionaires out of ordinary people. And this is the way to do so is through residential real estate investing. There's a lot of ways to get into it. You can get into it without a lot of help. What we're looking for, at least I'm looking for some owner finance deals personally. I know Cory and I are looking for more flips, and we'd love to partner on some deals and connect you with people in this room. There's some great resources in this room that I would trust to go into business with. I'd love to see some of y'all work together. So how you can connect with us, gridknoxville.com. That's the link to our meetup group. Sign up there. Everything flows through there, right? And then the Grid Investor YouTube page. So you can go and see not only us, but if you're interested in investing in any other markets, there are 27 markets right now that have grid chapters in 12 different states, expanding rapidly. I think by the end of the year, you're going to see some big announcements. And then that Grid National Facebook page. I highly recommend that one. It's a great resource. Like, I believe I'm lazy. So when I have questions in real estate, I go ask the best of the best. I'll call people that are top 10 in this country and ask some questions. And I think that's kind of a similar resource. Well, hey, if I'm curious about this, we've got some local experts. Let's go talk to people that have 100 units. Let's talk to people that have been doing this forever. Let's talk to someone that's bought 10 hotels, not one, and kind of see what they say. There's a shocking number of people in there that are willing to like pour back, give back. That's the community that Rob's created. So I think that covers everything for me. So member intros. We're just going to go around. I'm going to start with Elisa. What's up, Steve? What's up, bro? Welcome. Bienvenidos. You can come and sit up front, guys. It's okay. It's a better view. You're closer to me, which is unfortunate for you, but you can see the screen better. We'll start with Steve. Steve just walked in. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What's your niche? What are you looking for, and how do you hope to benefit from the group?
Well, obviously, I'm late. I'm good at that. I'm a private lender, hard money lender. My niche is, I've had no time to set up for this at all, right?
It's okay. I believe in you.
My niche in the market is, I love the fix and flip side. I do a lot of the refi business, long-term rentals, short-term rentals, but I would say the fix and flip side is probably my favorite area. What was the other question?
How do you hope to benefit from the group? What are you looking for?
I always like to network, meet different people. You never know what opportunities come from meeting everybody. You wind up in partnerships, you wind up just meeting good people. So that's kind of what I look for. Also, people who dress better than I do to meetings. I like to meet them.
No, we're on track. Anybody wants waters? There's some Jade. Is there pizzas? Is that right?
There's pizza.
Okay.
I have this one right now.
Yeah. So how about after we do member intros, if anyone wants to grab a slice, you certainly can. I'd rather, I listen better on a full stomach. I don't know about you. I get kind of angry. So you're in the green.
My name is Brendan. I don't have a niche yet, looking for one. It's kind of young in the business. Used to be a project manager for a construction company, so fix and flip kind of a natural lean towards for me. Looking for short-term rentals, long-term rentals, anything like that. And kind of just echo what he said, just looking to network and learn.
Hey Cory, is the camera pointed at the ceiling?
It did. It just got adjusted. I was shooting Jade a text or just, hey, you know,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
oh, good.
It wasn't.
It wasn't- There it goes. Yeah.
Lisa.
Me.
My name is Lisa Pruitt. I'm a realtor here at Keller Williams and have been with them about 15 years. I do have a rental up in Gatlinburg. My son, I got him to buy a duplex, and I'm trying to basically help him and Brendan over here build their wealth, because I'm kind of the end of the game and they're at the beginning. So.
Sure. What kind of deals are you looking for? If someone had a deal, I know there's some guys in here that have some deals as well here to pass on, wholesale or source.
What are you looking for, Brendan?
Like I said, long-term rentals, short-term rentals, fix and flip. I'm not really off on this.
All right. Speaking of Natalie,
What?
what do you?
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Who are you and what kind of deals are you looking for?
Hi, guys. I'm Natalie. I'm a Keller Williams Realty here, and I'm actually currently not looking for any deal right now. I'm just trying to absorb everything.
Good. Well, we're glad you're here.
Thank you.
Great resource.
Thank you.
As a bunch. That's your boss.
How's it going?
Right on the screen. You got some easy prompts.
Ross Pruitt. Just here to learn. Like to do a flip with him at some point.
Okay.
I have a duplex that I'm finally renting out. Now that I bought a house. Maybe like to get another one of those. That's it.
Okay.
Here to learn.
Fantastic.
Hey, I'm Wes. I'm here to absorb and learn like most people. If I had a niche, it would be seller finance with long-term rentals, specifically duplexes.
Yeah. And what do you want to get out of it? What are you looking for?
Networking, and just learning more overall.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Kaya Arian. I've been oh, hey there. Hey, welcome to yeah, there. I've been coming a couple times. I love the info this place has. My niche is landscaping. I'm looking to do landscaping for flippers, people who are wanting to sell homes fast, need some good curb appeal. I was recently a greenhouse manager, and that business is now actually for sale. So if any of you are looking to buy a greenhouse and bulk mulch business, it's for $205K. Lease comes with it, $650 a month, and it's all the assets of this.
I love how the only non-agent in here just gave the best elevator.
Neil.
That was awesome.
It is on Love Creek Road, near Rutledge Pike and Washington Pike.
Go back to your listing now.
What is it? Yeah.
He's also desperate for money, so it's highly negotiable price. I'm thinking him down to like 185 for the entire business.
Let's go. All right. Grab.
Anybody got a checkbook?
Grab the break. I love it.
Yeah.
Well,
Hello, my name is Will Cochran. I'm also a KW agent. My niche is, I guess, working with buyers and relocation, looking for land hacking opportunities, buy and holds, fix and flips, pretty much all of it.
what's land hacking? He's looking for good deals on land.
Yeah, good deal on land to, you know, either throw up some TP, some glamping stuff, you know, something cheap
Yeah.
to build, but has a nice return on it.
Sure.
Mhm.
Another one on that. So, Savannah, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I am Savannah Price. I'm a real estate broker with Elite Realty. I sell new construction for builders as well as residential and commercial real estate. I'm also a licensed general contractor. I own several long-term and short-term rentals, as well as I've done about 20 flips in the past 5 years. Just looking to grow, network, and expand my portfolio. So,
Yeah, it's been good to come out tonight because I wanted to get a couple of GCs in here. Speaking of which, you want to look up Jamie? So, can you look up Jamie? Yeah, a couple of GCs in here to share some experience what they're seeing on that side, the material side, because it's moving pretty dramatically, and there's some shortages coming up.
My name is Josh. I do new build construction for a construction company. Also got a couple units myself, so trying to get into the owning some property and some passive income and still in the network.
Fantastic, glad you're here. Miss Jade.
Hi, I'm Jade. I'm actually Cory King's assistant. I'm trying to get my foot in the door of the investing world. I just bought a house recently, like a couple months ago, trying to flip that and then rent that out. So yeah, just looking to network, get some knowledge.
Parker, what's up, man?
My name is Parker. I'm not in any kind of real estate whatsoever. I'm a college student, but I have my own company. I do real estate media, managed creative. If you're looking for anybody that needs to take pictures, videos, or drone footage of houses, you know, let me know.
And don't discount this, even if you're not a residential realtor, you're leaving money on the table if you're not professionally marketing your investments.
I think it's a sorely needed area. Yeah, especially in landscaping too.
Yeah, I think that's, you're gonna attract a different quality of tenant based off of that emotional feel. And you're gonna get more money. You know, I just sold a place in East Knoxville, a block from Planned Parenthood. We staged that thing, 1,150 square feet, brand new build, $280,000. And I marketed it just like I would have marketed in West Knoxville. I got an amazing buyer, easy transaction. For the money, it's very expensive. I would get his number. Alexis.
My name is Alexis Lawson, and I work with Concord Title, so my niche would be title work. So I'm basically here looking to network and just provide you all with any knowledge if you guys have any questions regarding title work and your flips and anything like that.
Anybody ever buy a property without full title? Am I the only one that's done that? No one else ever bought anything without buying title? Good, fantastic.
It's smart to get that title insurance, protect your assets.
Chris
Ball, I'm an agent for KW. I think my niche is listing residential properties. Cory King, you better answer my text.
I got you.
What am I looking for? Just knowledge. You know, I've got a team
I can see that.
at KW, so I'd like to start building my investment portfolio of residential real estate and how I benefit from learning how to do it. It's all new to me.
I love it. Glad you're here. D. Adrian Hall.
The Adrian Hall. My name is Adrian Hall. I am a killer loan officer with Movement Mortgage. I'm not here to pitch myself though, because that's incredibly selfish. I am here to honestly just learn what I don't know. We have a couple of long-term, short-term rentals. We are playing with the idea of buying a piece of property and building something. And that's a whole conversation by itself. So I'm here to learn from the experts.
Adrian's got a great story personally with his personal finances to turn that around. He's got a Facebook group called Woke Not Broke. And he regularly kind of dives into some specific examples and some numbers of, hey, here's how I did this. Here's where I was. Here's how we overcame this challenge. You know, I highly recommend it. Great resource for some people in your life, because many of us don't get really great education on money. I don't know if you know that. I surely didn't get it. It was not talked about growing up.
I like the title, Woke Not Broke.
Yeah, it's great. Jay.
Actually, thank you. I came up with that. I am Adrian's husband, so we share the same properties. He wants me to get more involved, so that's why I'm
Well, good. We're glad to have you.
So your spouse drug you to this meeting? That's what my mom did with my dad a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Please drag more spouses.
Yeah.
I like that. Go ahead.
I'm Aaron Bittner, and I do primarily flips. So I've got 2 active flips going on right now. I say active, one's going to start here very, very shortly. So I'm here primarily, and I invited my buddy, he's a contractor as well, because I thought he would have a lot of input, but Barry shut him down at 4, and he's trying to get a stop work order lifted, so that's the life of a contractor, right?
Yeah.
And so he's on his way. Hopefully he'll be able to provide some value as well. But yeah, I'm here to sort of get some input on, like you said, the changes in material cost, shortages. Stephen, we've actually talked before on the phone. You know, what are the products available for refinancing? You know, what's that market doing? So just to learn and meet some new folks that are wholesalers are always my good friend. Yeah, so if we get a deal.
Yeah, I love it. All right. What's Christine?
Yeah, I'm Christine. I have one rental, so I'm all new to this. We're just kind of hoping to learn a little bit for future deals, kind of looking in areas that have kind of up and coming areas will be more kind of cool for appreciation as opposed to cash flow.
I love that.
So I'm Daniel Johnson. Yeah, we just bought a rental not too long ago. It's been great for us, and we're just here to learn. Well, I am for sure. I don't know what I don't know yet, so that's why I'm here.
Well, good. Good place to be. Robbie, what's up, man? What's up?
I'm Robbie Baker. I'm an agent here with KW, and I'm here because I want to network with other investors, contractors, want to start flipping houses, use my license for more than just selling real estate.
Yeah, I'm a big believer that we should all be getting high on our own supply. That's the mission. So that's what we should be building them up. It's a lot easier to acquire 10 properties than it is to go sell other houses. So dive into the legal stuff. State of Tennessee wants you to know that I am not a home inspector. I'm not a tax professional. I am not an appraiser. What else am I not missing? I am not.
We're not much.
Yes. So use this advice at your own risk. Run this by someone that you trust, anything that you hear. Right, this is for informational purposes only. Let's go on. All right, so let's start off with some just overall points to think about. Jason, what's going on, man? Come here, grab a seat. Yeah, you could right there, one of these chairs.
I just stand right.
Okay. Speaking of, Jason, introduce yourself real fast. Who's got your interest?
Oh, yeah. My name is Jason McDaniel. I'm a local real estate investor here in the Knoxville area. Yeah, I'm a buy and hold investor. I've done a handful of flips and wholesales and other weird stuff, weird partnerships, and but my primary interest is rentals.
Yeah. And what are you looking to accomplish? Because when we talked about this, it's kind of different. Now we're looking for deals. Now what are you looking for? Are you looking for deals right now?
No, I'm not looking for deals.
They've got a good one right now.
Yeah.
The mentorship. We can sell some real estate. Let's hear about it.
Yeah, I've got 16 acres on the lake. I'm wholesaling right now It's in Louisville, has a house on it, it's about 4,000 square feet. So I've been told most likely it would be, best use would be to tear down the house and subdivide it. But it's a great house that's just needs remodeled. If somebody wanted a nice house on the lake on 16 acres, it's owner financed. 1.6 million's what I'm wanting for it. Need 550 at closing, and the sellers are willing to carry a note, owner finance, of the remaining balance of 1,050,000 on a 30-year amortization schedule, 5% fixed with a 5-year balloon.
Okay.
And if you didn't catch all that, you can find me afterwards or hit me up on Facebook or something, and I can run you back through it, give you pictures, videos, I'm getting a survey on it tomorrow, so.
I've known Jason for a long time, long before he got into
Yeah.
real estate investing, and we were talking about this, and Kim helped me on a flip, and he said he's been actively looking for, you want to know about this, he will take you out, teach you everything.
I am looking for that, yeah. People to help.
Yes, so if you want to learn the game, hit Jason up. He's got a pretty impressive track record. Negotiated 40 properties, all owner financed.
Yeah.
For the last few years, both. I don't know anyone else that's done that anywhere. What's up?
Well,
Shane, we're just introducing ourselves. Let's see, you're up.
I'm up.
You are.
How's everybody?
Yeah.
Good.
So we just got started. So this is James, this is our business partner
Hey,
here.
guys.
Runs the Hartstrong Home Group. And he's a licensed general contractor.
Yeah, so what y'all diving into?
We're talking about Estimate Renovations. So tell them just
Oh, yeah.
briefly who you are, what you do, what we're building right now.
Well, I obviously just introduced, I'm Jamie Smith. I run our Heartstrong Home Group, our real estate office here through Keller Williams, and then I also own construction companies. We build homes ranging anywhere from 350 up to about 2 million, all over Knoxville, Tellico Village, Loudon, Lenore City, places like that.
Mhm.
So we've got 21 homes going right now. Kind of give you an idea of the size, and you know, what else? Renovations.
Yeah, we're just getting started.
Oh, and we got a rehab, but we don't have as many of those now due to the market like we used to. We used to do a lot of rehab,
Yeah.
but with the market, they're a little harder to come by right now.
And Jamie's interesting. You could got a pull and grab. We've always done kind of top of the market rehabs, coming into a neighborhood, taking an ugliest house, turn it into the nicest house in the market, and then kind of set the new price for the market.
Yeah, that's kind of our goal.
So we're doing a total gut reno, big project in Sequoia Hills right now. Cool. So let's get started. If anybody wants to slip and grab a slice, I'll talk loud. I won't be offended. It's gonna be cool pizza. I don't mind at all. So some things to consider. You don't have time to look at every potential deal you're gonna come across. So you're gonna have to learn some heuristics. You're gonna have to learn some rubrics to do this. You're gonna need to be able to start evaluating properties just looking off photos. I'm trying to see some obvious things. If you can't do it, you can always call someone, have them pull up the photos and think about it before you go out there. There's opportunity cost for every deal you're going and tied up in. You're missing out on other deals that could be coming your way. So learning how to say no is one of the most valuable skills you can get as an investor, right? So it's certainly not a good idea of your contractor's time to write up an estimate on every single house before you buy it. And even in a regular market, it's not a good use of time.
Sorry, we keep messing it up.
Did I bump into that or something? I was supposed to point it at you. Is that good, Cory?
There we go.
Valid.
All right, sweet. It's wandering.
You didn't want to look up my nose?
The robot revolution is coming.
Let's have fun, turn it upside down.
Yeah.
So how do you do that, right? If you are running a business, you are an investor. You gotta think of yourself as a business. You gotta be very cognizant of what the return on investment is. And initially, that's gonna be your time, right? What's the return of the time that you're investing in? Sometimes it's the same activities to go do a 200K flip as it is to do a 900K flip, right? Only preventing you maybe some resources or capital or know-how. So what can you do to get the maximum return on your time? We need to have some tools to estimate and analyze potential costs and profits from a deal so you can speed up that process of decision making, right? Adam Hergenrother, right? Talking about all these all he's got to do is make one good decision a day. runs a $1 billion company within KW. And that's where he is now. He's like, all I focus on is taking care of myself, being focused, doing all my stuff. So I have to just make one good decision every single day for the business to move forward. So over the course of some different rehabs, our consultations, talking to other people, we built up a database of costs for some typical renovations. Now that database is unfortunately pretty outdated, so we're going to collaborate a little bit here. However, it's still, some of it I think is still pretty accurate when here's we go through it. So here's how you do that. If you're trying to do this on your own, you want to look at historical cost data. You can get this from a variety of places. You can start doing some research. I've got to track this back down. There's a trade publication out here for like the renovation industry that publishes data on ROI. It does it nationally and then it breaks it down by region. And then it does some of the major metros of how much a typical, let's say, kitchen renovation costs and what your typical ROI on it is. That's some unique data. I've got it. I'll see if I can find a few. I'll email it out this month. You can go find some of this kind of global data if you're just good with Google and do research. If you've got the historical cost data and you've got your square footage data, that can give you a baseline that has some average costs, right? That's what typical wholesalers are using when they're looking at that, is they've got some rough cost data of like, here's what a total gut costs, multiply that by my square footage, and I've got a rough idea of what I'm working with. The more you know, the better. So when you're looking at this, what do you want to do? You could do some of this on your own. I would grab a realtor in here, frankly. They're gonna have access to more data, and it's a win-win for you. If you work with them, let them sell the properties you do, let them do the research on the front end. Hey, can you go look up and give me the history on this? What are they gonna go do? They're gonna go look at all the past listings. They're gonna pull whatever they can off the tax records, right? Maybe they got a link with a title company. If something comes up weird, hey, can you take a look at this, Alexis? Right? Look at Google Street Maps. You can't go out there, right? Go call old listing agents, call old sellers. Potentially go talk to neighbors. I love talking to neighbors. When I take a listing, go talk to neighbors, they'll tell you everything you know about that neighborhood. And even without any additional info, if all you have is the square footage of your home and the location, right? Historically, if you look across our entire grid investor network of 17,000 investors, we find most renovations land within about $10,000 of the average. In this market, again, it's moving pretty quickly. I would say that's probably more like 15. Right? It's getting a little looser because prices are moving, and I'm seeing my contractors get stuck. Where they're like, "Oh, I lost money on these windows because it moved on me between me quoting it and pricing it, right? Or I've had to switch to cost plus, right, Jamie? When you're building houses because it's prices have moved so much.
It's just a moving target right now.
Yeah. What I'd love to do real fast, because I know you probably got to go here, is whatever you mentioned, dive into real quick. Can we talk about, and Savannah, I want to hear you too, on price increases over the last 2 years, what you've seen on the material side? So let's run down, like, you're telling me, how many times has siding increased in the last 2 years?
17 increases in 2 years in vinyl siding.
Yeah.
Escalating anywhere from as small as 7 or 8% to some as high as 20-25% raises. So it's 189% up in 2 years.
Yeah.
Right. So siding is just shy of brick now.
I do want to say landscaping's the same way. It used to be that granular roundup was around like maybe $70. Now it's $150. And that's why landscaping prices are so high. There's also a huge shortage of labor workers. So yeah.
Across every trade.
Everything is going up. Yeah.
Cabinet boards.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm in construction.
Yeah. So what have you seen cabinets have gone up?
We've had 2 price increases in the past 6 months.
So where did that go from, let's say an average to?
10-20% increases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Special education was cabins.
Yeah.
What have you seen, Samantha? You're telling me there's some OSB's about to go up, right?
Oh yeah, OSB is about to go up. So when I started selling new construction for Jenkins Builders, we would sell a 1,300 square foot ranch 3-2 in Powell, and it was $192,900. And we are selling the same home for $299,900 right now. And that was 2 years ago.
Cory, how much did the median price of homes go up in Knoxville in the last year?
24%.
Yeah.
24% is the median increase. That's bananas.
Yeah.
That's bananas. So, How about lumber, John? You talked about this too.
That's been all over the place, right?
Yeah.
Everybody obviously familiar with the spike last year, heard everything about it when it got to its highest, which was a 293% increase. And it got excited because it fell back down a whopping 33%, right? And that's kind of where we sit today, and we're starting to see it creep right back up. So we're at 260% in 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's just part of what's driving all these costs up.
And what I wanted Jamie to sit here because Jamie is a builder, and so when we were doing this data before, when he came in, I had him teach, he taught a class one time about, hey, let's talk about what's happening with lumber, and he came right from the home builders call, with national home builders of, and so that's another source of data.
Interesting to
Again,
hear, yeah.
I'm always looking to go a little bit above what I actually need, and, okay, what are the national builders looking at, what are they doing, where are they moving, oh, they're all in North City, they're smarter than me, they spend a lot more money, they're actually looking at it as well. What else is going on, what else should we be aware of it?
Every single thing.
Windows.
There is nothing that's not going
Yep.
up. Windows, flooring, all the materials, the glues to put it in, the carpets, the tile, the sheetrock, the paint. There's a paint shortage. Paint's going up. I mean, you name it.
How much has labor gone up?
Labor,
As well?
yeah, it's gone up. I mean, obviously what it's becoming is a battle in our market because we're in such heavy construction. So people are fighting over laborers and they're willing to pay somebody $1 or $2 more and they'll jump trades to go work for this other person. So it's been back and forth. So they're up. I don't know the exact percentage on the labor, but it's up quite a bit.
Sure. Concrete shortage, is that what you're telling me?
Concrete shortage. Thank you, Amazon.
Yep.
All right, Amazon claimed 80% of the concrete in East Tennessee to build these factories. Yeah.
So we probably got about 2 or 3 more weeks.
Yeah. So, yeah, before it'll actually start to catch back up. Yeah.
Dirt and rocks are going up in price.
Dirt's gone up.
Right,
rocks
it's hard
are
to
going
find
up.
rocks, it's hard to find dirt.
Yeah.
Things you see everywhere, now you can't buy it.
Yeah.
It's just-
And one of the factors I would keep in mind as we go through this is, when you're estimating renovations, I would increase your hold times.
Mhm.
Right, because every project we're doing has some sort of unexpected, oh, now I'm sitting and waiting on this thing I didn't expect. Whether we had one house, how long was that house waiting on doorknobs, Jamie? We had a house fully finished in 6 weeks?
Wait,
Okay.
3 months probably. By
Yeah,
the
what
time
is-
they got the finals, you're talking about the one in Hardin.
I just know you had a house that
Yeah.
you couldn't close, to, you didn't
Yeah,
doorknobs.
didn't have doorknobs. So we had to even scramble to put whatever doorknobs you can on it to get it closed so they could move in.
Yeah.
But they had a specific order and they were black, and black was back ordered for months and
Sure.
months.
Yeah. So I think we may be done with COVID, I don't think it's totally done with us yet.
No, we got several years before we're out of it.
Certainly a record boom, so that's, I think it's something there. Anybody got any comments? Anybody have any questions? Anyone that's newer, is any of this going?
Yeah, one
Yeah,
here.
this is kind of a little bit off deep question. It's just, I understand all of this pretty well on the financial side.
Sure.
And I understand the cost of materials, and I even understood the labor shortage. I don't any longer understand, and maybe nobody in here does, or maybe somebody could shed light on it, maybe somebody who works for a larger corporation. Why is there still such a labor shortage? Meaning, the government is no longer giving out free checks for people to sit home. I'm having a hard time understanding where the labor force went. Like, and I get it, everybody in business has the exact same problem. Where are these people? Does anybody know?
So during COVID, a lot of people lost their jobs because they couldn't go to work. So I believe a lot of people started at-home businesses. And so a lot of people just started working on their own. Whether or not it's going to be successful in the long run, we shall see. But I believe that might be a good cause of a lot of it. Also, a lot of people who aren't listed in the like Hispanics and such have a lot of landscaping. They're a majority of landscaping business. And they're not listed, but if people like that do get listed, a lot of them disappear and find a new place to work. So at least on that side, that's something that happens.
Also during like any like recession, always like 5 to 8 years, older crowd getting close to retirement, normally like fall off. And that's a big chunk of America right now, with the lack of.
So a lot of people could have just retired during that time.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
They try to go back to like jobs later, but
when you get to a certain age, close to retirement age, you will normally, if you've lost your job, be underemployed, so you won't be able to find like anything, a really great job, so you will just fall off.
They just call it a day.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. And it probably happens to most of us here.
Also, some people might be going back to school and
Sure.
that might be
Yeah, but they have to eat. If
true,
the
but when
government
I
stops
went to
cutting
college,
around-
I got paid for it. So,
Well, the stimulus check
But
stuff,
it's
that's
over.
for
That's what I'm
sure,
saying, it ended.
right, but
I
there's still
understood it up
so many
until-
grants and things that become easier to get.
Yeah.
I mean, people can sit at home right now and make $30,000 a year without ever working.
Yeah, there's a chunk of
Yeah.
people that just are
There's a chunk of
staying
people that
lazy.
know.
So that answers the question.
Yeah, I mean, we
That's
take
right.
applications every week for jobs and, you know, we'll get a 1% might show up because the rest of them are filing to be able to file unemployment
And
and
that's,
collect
that's,
checks.
that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I think the reality is, I don't know, I've had about 18 jobs, I don't know about y'all. I mean, I've waited tables in like 2018. Like, you know, I've lived a very modest life for a long time, even when I was working in this industry. Entry level jobs suck. The hardest job I ever had was every Tuesdays. That job sucks. There's no, I'm not lazy. You guys would not do that job. The amount of abuse you get for the amount of money you make makes no sense. You're getting run to death by the morbidly obese to keep their teeth filled and not get tips. Like, no one wants to do that. People do that because of necessity. They don't have to do that. All those industries closed down. They went and go work in a call center or something. They didn't come back necessarily. And there's just been a shortage forever. I think because we devalue as a society, with dirty jobs, and we devalue trades. So people still, I talk to them blue in the face, and you know, it's people younger than me about like, why are you getting a degree? They don't listen. You know, and as a roofer, they don't. There's nothing you can tell them because it's like everyone else is telling them something different. So I don't know that it's. I'm skeptical about that. Traveling over the country, I mean, you meet lazy people, but like the majority of welfare recipients are like single mothers. It's the data just doesn't back it up. You know?
Also, remote work, the remote work search post-COVID was up like 460%. So you got people who
I don't know.
don't want to go do manual labor anymore.
It is surprising. I can't find it.
it could just be that people are switching careers, less manual labor and supply labor and more digital computers. So people are going more to digital, and then there's no one there to do the in-person labor, such as mining or harvesting lumber and such.
I mean, people I worked with, you know, when many of them quit many times, you're working there because it's a job you can get.
Yeah.
That's why you work construction, that's why you work restaurants, so they don't really do a lot of background checks, you can get a job, and you're just making money to spend it, and if you got other money other ways. If I might come back, I'd be curious to see it, but it's a good question. I'd love to see some national data. But you've got people that are refusing to go on a corporate level, you've got Fortune 500 people refusing to go back to the office.
Right.
And I think we're in the middle of like a very big, like cultural shift of like, I'm just not willing to do it. I've talked to some some older agents that are leaving the industry. It's just not worth it. Even a record market is, I don't want to deal with it.
It's been a rough year. There's been several times when I'm like, well, I was one of the investors here. I know y'all had your lunch, share and text meeting, and I sold out in December, and I'm just concentrating on selling because it is a pain in the rear end right now.
Yeah, you talk on jobs as small like TVA. I don't know anybody work for TVA in here. I know they're downtown offices. I have a few friends that work there. They were just delivered a letter last week that they will not be returning to the office. They're planning to stay home. Keep all their employees at home. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a statistic there. I'm trying to find the report right now. Sorry to kind of jump in, but there's a report I read here recently. I'm trying to pull it up here on my computer that said there's about 800,000 people right now, like that should be in the labor market that are not, that are kind of sitting on the sidelines, that, you know, had received some stimulus checks, right, as part of it, had some money saved up, have some equity in their properties, that they're able to kind of, or have been able to float for the better part of the last, you know, year and a half or so, as there's been kind of this great resignation, great reshuffle. The one guy report I was reading was calling it just the great vacation was a lot of people just kind of took the time and are trying to kind of position themselves maybe for better opportunities. But there's about 800,000 workers that have been kind of sitting on the sidelines that will start to trickle back into the market over, I would say, the rest of this year, because people are just going to be put in that position where maybe they hoped to jump careers or jump, fields, and maybe have been able to, and there's going to be some people in there that won't be able to, and they're going to have to go back in order to be able to kind of basically provide, right, and kind of keep food on the table. I'm like I said, I'm trying to bring up that report, so apologize. That was just one insight I wanted to share. And then like recent retirees as well. I think the same report said there's about 1.1 million folks that kind of recently retired, say in the last year and a half. Maybe they took an early exit deal. I've got a cousin who worked for Delta for 20 something years and was still a couple years shy of really flushing out her full career, but they gave her a sweet package to basically just dip out early, and she took it. But now she's even looking back around at kind of just finding something to do. My dad is about that age as well, kind of mid 50s, retired with a pension, has good money, but just looking to find some work. He was retired for all of about, I don't know, a month and a half. And then now he just talked the other day. He's like, yeah, I just got a job, part-time kind of thing. So it's coming back. It'll have to work its way back into the cycle.
And my last one, I'm just curious, is why is work so meaningless in America? People would rather sit at home and watch TV than go work.
Well, that's a certain, I don't want to go too deep into it, but this is not the right room probably to ask the question, because it's hard for people in here to be objective or to put themselves in other shoes. Everybody in here is entrepreneurial.
Of course.
So we make up a very small section of what this country is. So everybody in here tries to think is the way we think. I've been in other industries, having a little bit different experience in things, and I can tell you most of this country is not sitting home starting up their own business because they do not have the capacity to do so. And they're figuring out how to milk the system for every last nickel until they can. I just thought the until they can't would have happened already.
Yeah.
From what Cory's saying, it's just something that they've been able to last a little longer with, so it's coming.
Yeah.
Well, it makes sense because those kind of people have been doing it already in that way of making their money stretch out so they don't have to do anything. So,
So let's jump into some renovations. Good. I like being in the perspective. It's something we've all been asking each other. And just trying to hear that conversation all over the place. So some assumptions. Never buy a property sight unseen or based solely on an estimate. Never, ever, never. It will not end well. It will not end well. Just Tom Hanks money back. So what is our goal? The goal is, again, you are in a lead generation business, just if you're an investor, is to prioritize leads, right? And make revocable offers that can be finalized after an inspection period or a contractor's estimate. All that means is you have a contingency in there in the contract, you have a 2-page agreement, whatever, that you have a chance to come in and inspect that property, right? You can earn the right to waive that at your own risk once you've played the game long enough, and you'll still find flippers and wholesalers don't talk about like, oh yeah, the one deal a year that they lost, they took a bath on, let's see if this goes.
Yeah.
All right, so got some examples of some before and afters. These are all from Knoxville. Right, so we put in there. Pretty simple. Cory, this is when
these next couple of photos, slides are all going to be kind of some projects that I've personally done. So this is going to be a mix of kind of show an example where we'll talk about kind of the major renovation versus kind of the lighter side of this. So like the first couple of photos here, like this is my personal house. I bought this house in April of last year, so coming up around on kind of a full year of kind of ownership and work on this thing. So we bought this house in April of last year for 180,000. To give people kind of a numbers breakdown on this. This is a 2,000 square foot house in kind of the Ebenezer and North Shore area, and Farmington is the subdivision. So great location, good opportunity, off market deal that came my way. Knew we were in a spot, we were kind of already house hunting, and this deal came across for us to kind of buy something at certainly a discount already. In fact, Adrian, I know, is in the room. Adrian helped me buy this house. And then we spent pretty much the last year updating it. You know, I went into this early on expecting kind of my early projections were about 50,000-60,000 in renovations. Certainly working with some guys in there. Jamie was kind of like the little devil on my shoulder of just when I was saying, well, what do you think about doing on the cabinets? Well, I think I'm just maybe going to repaint them, put some new countertops on there. And Jamie's like, let's just throw some new ones in there. What's it going to cost you? Like 5-6 grand? I'm like, sure. And it actually makes a big impact overall. So the original budget was, you know, probably around like 60 grand. Just kind of wrapped up this whole project. We're into about 110 right now. So about 55 a foot is kind of what we spent on this whole project. Certainly kind of paid off. We did just have this appraised last week, appraised at 415. So solid turn for us overall, should we decide to sell it.
You're in for 295 and it appraised for 415,
Yeah,
and you just cash out, refi that, right?
correct. Yep,
Yeah.
we just signed the paperwork before we left for our vacation. So that check just hit the bank account. Not bad. That was a good one. So yeah, I think so that's kind of an outside photo. I mean, this whole house has had, when I say it's heavy reno, so new roof, siding, gutters, windows. We've made some plumbing modifications to this property, HVAC, electrical panels been changed. I mean, all the major systems. You can probably switch to the next one. Justin's going to be like the kitchen.
Did you do all windows in this one?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
All the windows, brand new exterior doors, garage door. I feel like everything. I feel like there's almost not one square inch of this house that hasn't had some kind of update to it.
But this one for me, what really jumps out is presentation, right? Just the landscaping, changing the door, new roof.
Yeah.
It is new windows, but that's not apparent so much from this photo at this distance. Like that's gonna make a difference when you actually get in there and look at the house.
Yeah, we've got a little bit more landscape.
Massive difference in presentation when you value landscaping. So yeah, before and
Yeah.
after.
There's kind of a
on your
before,
kitchen.
after, or before, during, after on reno. We still got a little bit of cleanup. I mean, there are still some delays. So on this, like the appliance package we ordered that Memorial Day weekend last year. I got the microwave, stove, and dishwasher, still waiting on my fridge. It's a very nice KitchenAid counter depth fridge. It's supposed to kind of slide into that spot where we've got that temporary fridge there on the left. There's supposed to be a beautiful stainless steel KitchenAid fridge that is still behind. I mean, a year later, and I call them, I don't know, weekly, 2 weeks, and it's just there's 90 on back order.
What's the let's just run through some numbers to keep it. What's the cost you put it in the kitchen? Would you end up spending for that kitchen?
Kitchen, probably close to, I'd say at least 15 is what I spent on that. I mean, those yeah, because the countertop
there, right? So
yeah, full gut. I mean, we brought that thing all the way down, moved some plumbing around that was hidden up in that kind of soffit before, so we kind of had to move some stuff there. Cabinets were around 6 grand. Those were from Anderson Lumber. We did the countertops from Granite Depot in Maryville. That's quartz, and that was a really good special. Actually, they were doing like 50 square foot for right around $2,500. They kind of continually run that kind of special, and we were like right at 50 square feet, so we're able to kind of lock in that special. Paid for a little bit nicer quartz countertops to go in, and the appliance package was, shoot, 7 grand.
How about the flooring? It looks like there was a drop, that acoustic drop ceiling in there. You took that out?
Yeah, so that's what we removed there is there's like a soffit that was kind of going around, was kind of hitting lighting and stuff. So we pulled all that down, we pulled the cabinets, you know, raise everything up.
What was the number for that, Cory?
To kind of remove all that.
Yeah.
So I did on this one, so I saved a little bit of cost in this. I did pretty much all the demo on this house. Oh, camera just moved. Camera's following Jamie. Hi, Jamie. So I did a lot of the demo on this property myself, where I'd bring in a couple buddies that I could pay 15-20 bucks an hour to kind of help me load the dumpster. That's good. So that helped me save a little bit of cost. Realistically, it did drive my timeline out a little bit further. Hindsight should have just hired it out and
I'm gonna in the interest of time, I'm gonna make us go cliff notes. So how much did it cost?
That kitchen, 15 grand.
15 grand, and then you say, and then that's including you saving some money doing demo yourself, and gotcha. Which maybe would cost more because you extended your time, it sounds like, right?
Yep.
Sweet. Bathroom before and after, so it looks like you put a new vanity in and a soaker tub, and
yeah, we demoed that wall, put in a soaker tub, kind of reinforced the floor below the tub because it was just an insert. The closet was huge. It ran the whole right side of that wall. So when we removed that wall, kind of cut the closet in half, with my wife wanting the soaker tub, I made a big walk-in shower on that back right corner. It is a really nice 2-person walk-in shower, and really didn't make too much of an impact on the closet space.
Nice.
That bathroom's, you know, another 15 grand's probably what I spend into that. And then the next ones are just like, this is a light condo flip I did, so kind of the opposite end of the spectrum. This thing at the time, this is in early 2020 that I did this condo flip, and we're into that for, God, probably 10 grand total for the whole project. This was all really flooring and paint as a majority of what was done through that property, as kind of just the light reno. So that first one is just that living room there, really just kind of a quick before after, neutral paint color, new flooring across. Yeah, the bathroom, we didn't replace, we saved some costs there on the tub and shower. Structurally it was in good shape, so we hired a resurfacing company to come in, and they just spray like a, I don't know, it's like a, not a ceramic, but just a new coat on top of that shower, just to really pop like brand new. About $400 to have that done. That flooring is probably $1 a square foot. It's like kind of peel and stick tile that we just adhered to the concrete slab that was below. New vanity. It's like one of the kits you get from Lowe's for 250 bucks for vanity mirror. The light above it, I mean, that bathroom can't be more than, can't imagine I spent anywhere close to 2 grand to do that bathroom. Probably nowhere
I'm
close.
gonna skim through, so we just want to give you some examples of heavy reno, light reno before we get into what those numbers are. So if you haven't done it before, you have some reference of what does that even mean, right? So if you haven't evaluated a flip before, right? So typically light's gonna be cosmetic, flooring, paint. Bathrooms are I would almost include that in a light rental because it's such a big money maker and it's so easy to come in and change a vanity, change some flooring. It's a small space. For me, once I get into a kitchen, it's probably more like a medium reno. You know, if we're gonna do something more, and heavy's gonna be that structural stuff, right? We can talk about that more, but electrical. I'm curious what you guys think of this as well. So another before and after here. Cory walked me through this one. This one's fantastic. Salvage that island to save some money. Reused his cabinets, right? Change up his appliances, painted it, and then you change some flooring. Put some LVP down in there, right? What did that and new light fixture? What did that cost you, Cory?
I mean, across, you know, the whole condo is only a little over probably 1,100 square foot. And so I think we're into the whole project for $9,500. That's not including labor. That was a buddy of mine and I did. That was like our COVID project. We did like right as things were locking down. That's like March, 2020 that we were really just kind of spent the whole month doing that.
I love it. This is one from one of the leaders in Reston. This is just an exterior reno where they came in, cleaned this up, they put a new deck in. You see they changed out these windows down here. Right? Painted the exterior, painted all this brick the same color, put a new roof on it. Right? What a real dramatic difference you can make on some of these spaces. Not too hard to do it. So we've got 4 different levels of renovation, basically. I think we can, this is where I'd love to hear, because personally, my rule of thumb numbers, I'm throwing them out the window because we're in a flip right now, and I've seen stuff where I'm like, oh, my siding will be maybe 125 to 150, and it's 311 a foot. Because not only was it that the siding went up, that was the only siding that was available. So do I wait on the siding that's in my range, or do I buy the siding that I have here so I can finish this project and get the house done? So we've got rental grade, and I think what I'm gonna go through those. We'll come back and talk about the pricing, right? So we're just gonna fix what's broken. We're gonna do the basic white appliances, low cost tile, get all your fixtures at Builder Grade and Home Depot, right? Maybe paint, put in some cheap turbo carpet. There's different frames of reference on there. I know some people only do solid surface on their rentals, right? $18 a square foot maybe. Basic rehab is what we're calling a light. So new fixtures, new kitchen, new bathrooms, paint, flooring, switches, plates, fixtures. We're gonna do interior paint and intricate carpet or hardwoods. I think I'll send these 4 slides to everyone, right? I imagine these are the ones you're gonna wanna see. Throw them in a Facebook group.
Yeah.
Yeah. Intricate granite. Does everyone use granite? I've been using butcher block. Anyone not using granite?
Butcher block's just so much more cost effective.
Yeah.
And it's popular enough to where it works.
Sure.
And it's like, and we've been using butcher block.
Yeah, I've been using it on ours. What, you use granite and everything?
I've used butcher block for years until the last 2 months. I switched to granite. But still, I'm gonna use butcher block depending on if it's just rental grade and the location, depending on the location.
Sure.
And it is just about as popular.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think that drives is like what your buyer. If it's a
Yeah.
$400,000 square foot or $400,000 home and up, you're probably gonna need
Sure.
better quality.
Yeah. Same with rentals if it's lower end versus a high, nicer.
What you guys put in here is, you have one is in South Knoxville, right?
Yeah, we haven't redone the kitchen yet, so Knoxville been our own personal.
Nice, and you have
Just
this place
given-
in Park Ridge, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna fix the vibe of Park Ridge. I think it works. I did one in East Knoxville, the same thing, like, with the rest of the house, it seems to go, butcher block feels architecturally appropriate around here. For a lot of those, it doesn't feel like you're cheaping out.
And we have a lot of friends that are in that mid to high end market and they really love the kitchen, so they all come in. and
Yeah,
like
I would-
a lot more than they expected.
Sure, especially if you look at some nice cabinets. Saw someone else throw a hand up over here. Okay, cool. So, entry grade granite in the kitchens, that's kind of normal, let's say, in some of those other markets. I think in our market, we're unique, and then it does, butcher block works really well. For tile, let's talk about numbers, we're getting numbers here. $4 a square foot for tile in the bath. Does that sound accurate to y'all?
In the back. That include labor.
Yeah, it better.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cory,
Yeah,
yes?
these are pricings that this has kind of been based on my math, like based on what I've factored in, and I'm including it when it comes to like tile or say like flooring, then I'm basing that as kind of like an all-inclusive material labor cost for install.
One great you brought up in one of your flips, Cory, that resurfacing process is really, really good.
Yeah.
And once you
Super
start
nice.
getting into some of these older homes that have tile all along the wall and it's pink and green and all that good stuff. There's a couple, we use them a couple times, name escapes me, but it's like a brand new product when they're done with it. And that's what it's money saver. And demo and reinstallation and new tile.
That old tile also was indestructible. that avocado green 60s tile.
Yeah.
That stuff, if you gotta break it out, it comes out in whole pieces. It's
But there's when you're doing your rehab estimate, there's like a mentality that you can get stuck into, like, this is old and green and it needs to come out. And really, once you get it white again, like the whole perspective changes on it.
Is it Jesse Wood? That's who
Yes.
everybody uses.
Solutions.
Yeah.
Interesting solution. I think that's who I've used before.
I think that's who
And it
it
was-
is.
Well, it's Jesse Wood with Resurfacing Solutions. If you're watching at home, Kai.
Or the artists out there, you could use that tile for like an art piece and sell it. If anyone's interested in that kind of stuff, finding old stuff like that has a story to it. It makes it unique and yeah, there's definitely people out there that will try.
Yeah, well, there is somebody out there, I've seen him on Facebook, who actually solicits for like, hey, if you've got pink toilets, I want them. You know, that kind of-
Yeah. And you could even make it a part of the house as like a feature that adds to the history of the house.
I love it.
Justin, I texted you something similar to this too, that somebody posted on our Facebook group just a couple months ago. And he's probably the most experienced real estate investor, I mean, rehabber I've ever met. I mean, he's done it since he was a kid but he posted something that was real detailed from light, medium, into exactly what it is. I texted it to you if you want to look at it real quick. It might be, because it's like just a few lines, and he gave a real detailed breakdown of what, and he is organized and documents things and keeps up, unlike me. So I don't have any idea what I spend ever, really. I just get the job done and do the next one. So I'm not the best person to ask for stuff like that, but.
No, so yeah, this is David Zook. This is in the Knoxville and surrounding landlords. Also Facebook, tremendous resource. If you're not using it, that's what I use for everything. I use this on the real estate side, same thing. I'm in a bunch of Facebook groups, crowdsourcing information, admin groups, masterminds, executive masterminds, inside sales agents, investor, wealth building ones, right? It doesn't take a lot to be ahead of the curve. You just gotta listen to smart people, you know?
Yeah, the Zooks are really.
Experienced as they come.
So here's what he said, and I love Cory, you're kind of dead on right here. So what this talked about is we're doing a low grade, if we're doing paint, carpet, light reno. And again, with that mindset of what can we just paint white, right? Not replacing everything. What can we paint white? What is our entry level carpet? Here's a pro tip. You want entry level carpet to feel like durable carpet, put a better pad underneath. What you're paying for is durability. And if it's your home and you're staying there, pay for the durability. Builder gives you builder grade, it's not as durable. But if you put a nice, even in a nicer home, if you put a thicker pad in there, it'll feel like a very luxurious without spending as much money. So $10 a foot is what Zook said. He says if you throw in you've got appliances included here, right, Cory? And some fixtures. If you throw in there, you're about $20 a foot per square foot for the above, plus a small kitchen and bathroom model. We're talking small kitchen and bathroom model for frame of reference, going back to something like this, right? Thrifting an island. That's what Cory found, this island, fixing it, painting it yourself, painting some cabinets, right? Changing some hardware. You're doing that labor yourself. If you haven't painted cabinets before, just get the good cabinet paint. You can do the whole thing maybe for $300. And one of my buddies walking me through it. It just takes some time, but it looks fantastic when you're done. If you just take the time to do it correctly and get the right paint for it.
Clean them first, very thoroughly.
Yeah, just clean it with some TSB, get a foam roller, take the time to prime them. The longest thing for me was just time to get out. Like I was going over every night, doing it, letting it dry, flipping it. Awesome. So for here, same thing, right? We're talking $20 a foot. $30 a foot for Zook if we start getting into adding electrical, plumbing, and HVAC repair. So Cory's got your 4K for an extra like roofing or AC in here with some intricate granite. So you can adjust this stuff. I mean, if you have questions on this, get specific, let's ask. But having a rule of thumb when you come in is really going to help. I'm going to share this one. I'll email this out with the slides so you guys compare and contrast. There's probably a lot of numbers to throw at you without seeing them visually. I don't have an easy way to throw it up there. But this one is really good, and he runs all the way, all the way down. I like this one, 40 a square foot for the above plus a full rehab. Then it goes in the yard. Yeah. Basic remodel. So everything in this simple rehab, going back here, right? Fixtures, kitchen, bathroom, right? Paint, flooring, switch paint fixtures, interior paint, entry grade carpet, entry grade granite, some tile in the bath, 4K hedge there. Now we're replacing doors, windows, and trim for a basic remodel, right? Removing 1 to 2 walls to open our combined spaces. This is when you're getting into GC, Mr. Jason. Learn on the job, right? Complete minor plumbing and electrical to expand, reconfigure kitchen and baths. And I think, just I'm joking with Jason, but Jason's place nice, you've done a bunch of this yourself, and now you get into it where you're like, nope, I'm just gonna hire someone to do it because it's not worth it. The time's not worth the money, right?
Soon, I'd say. I'm still managing subcontractors.
Yeah.
I don't do any of the physical work myself, but I manage the guys. And I mostly have gotten to where I do it remotely through pictures and texts and FaceTime. So I don't really go to the rehabs that I'm working on very often.
But I remember a time when I was like, want to come see them, we were finishing the floors.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll be there all night, come by and hang out.
Yeah, starting out, and I recommend that for anybody. First couple rehabs, maybe learn some of the stuff yourself and manage contractors yourself, but eventually if you want to grow and scale, you're not going to be able to be, painting yourself or even managing the subs. You want to have a general contractor and you're managing him, and you're an investor. You're not working in your business, you're working on your business, right?
Anybody that does flips have any trades they still do themselves? But they just enjoy for the money, it makes sense to do yourself. Does it make sense to sub out? Yeah.
So I help my parents on a lot of renos.
Sure.
It's their basic thing. They find a house, make it into a duplex, reno all of it. So, painting cabinets, easy, you can do it yourself.
Yep.
Painting the walls takes time, but I've done it. If you're really short on money, but hiring a painter is definitely a lot easier. Yeah. If you're having to take stuff out like carpet, old carpet, I recently did that on one of their new houses. It's real simple.
Sure.
And then some installs are a bit easy. Yeah, so there's a lot you can do, and the more you do it, the more you learn. A lot, yeah.
I'll do electrical. If it's not like a panel or something like that.
Sure.
If it's simple electrical.
So we're talking wiring, switches, stuff like that.
Yeah, just because those are fairly easy to do, and once you do a couple of it, you can knock out a house.
Fixtures.
Yeah, fixtures and
doors.
stuff like that. And if your electrician doesn't have to do that, then it saves you a bunch of money, and they're probably more interested in just doing larger.
Sure.
Small tiling.
Yeah. Cool. Just curious. So doing some minor plumbing and electrical to expand, reconfigure kitchen and baths, right? More kind of moving a toilet or something, not doing, heavy plumbing here. 8,000 padding in here for some extras like roof, HVAC, driveway. We're trying to get into some of those other factors you have. What we're doing there is adding some value by enhancing the basic layout. So coming in, and this is where you get to that stage of looking at a space and envisioning what it could be, right? Getting around the fact that you've got 4 tiny bedrooms in here. Maybe we're combining one of them. We're stealing some space back. We're sitting down with someone with some plans. So $52 a square foot is what you got, Cory, based on your numbers from tracking.
Yeah. This is starting to be right around where like what it was for me on my primary house was kind of in that range in terms of overall cost. I'm into that for like so 52 to 55 a foot.
What's your, Jason, what's your rule of thumb if you're doing something like that? What do you estimate in your head per foot when you're walking through? You doing it by trade, or do you do it kind of like?
I just look at it. I don't really, I'm the worst person to ask, man. I don't do scopes of work. I just go in, I look around, and I say it'll be, 40 to 50 or whatever, based on experience. That's pretty much it. So.
Have you been within 10K typically? Have you ever been way off?
Yeah, I've been way off.
Yeah.
I just focus on buying right enough to where I've, If you get a deal, if you make sure you get a deal to begin with, and it's a great deal, then, you know, there's plenty of cushion. So I've went where I've had some remodels be double what I predicted, and there was still equity at the end of it, you know? And especially if you're buy and hold, that offsets everything. That's just so much. I don't know. I'm very anti-flipping and selling real estate in general, even though I've done a ton of it. I just, you know,
It's all the money is. The market's not going down.
keeping real estate is where it's at.
But
But what-
beginning of that Nashville hockey stick.
What I will say is,
Going back, what you meant about property.
the most important thing I think I've done the whole way, especially in the beginning, but I still do, is I constantly ask for help from people with stuff that I don't have experience with. So there's a lot of people like me out there that just want to help people and network. And, you know, the more people you meet and know, the easier this stuff gets. And even you don't necessarily have to get somebody to come on site to look at stuff. You can text somebody pictures. Like, I'm always willing to help somebody, you know, to cut the learning curve. And I mean, I did that in my first 10 remodels, and I still do it when I run into something tricky, like a weird foundation issue. I'll have, you know, a couple buddies of mine who have done triple the rehabs I've done, come and look and say what I should do, or text them pictures and say, hey, how do I, and they say, oh, use this and call this person or whatever, you know, connect me with their people. But that's my strongest suggestion to everybody. And if not that, at least take advantage of these groups on Facebook, like was just mentioned, like post some pictures and say, hey, what would you all do here? How much do you all think this? I mean, you could, before you even get something under contract, you could do a walkthrough video, post it on the Knoxville Flippers or Knox area Flippers and Friends. And there is like 10 multimillionaires that will instantly reply and give you priceless information for free. I mean, probably 40, like, multimillionaires that became multimillionaires from renovation, from fix and flips, from buy and hold, that are just happy to help for free.
Sure.
You know, but so many people don't think about that.
Yeah, I said Jason, come walk through for me. I asked for help for everything.
Mm-hmm.
I've got ego type and that's why I'm successful. So, ask for help. Google Drive's your friend. Take more photos than you think you need when you're walking through these places. I still never take enough photos. I still think I have the memory I had when I was 20 and I don't. You know, but I have to go back and take some photos of the front of the house, what the house was supposed to be. So I take enough photos of the yard. You know, I just don't have a shot of it. I'll do that tomorrow. Is that $52 a square foot? What do you think of that one? You said, what do you think of that one? Does that sound like a good rubric? What would your be if you're looking at that? You're estimating it.
I think so. I think you just gotta keep in mind that everyone's taste and finishes are different. I mean, but also, listen, I mean, you know, when on mine personal house, I bought it for $160, $89 a square foot 2 years ago. I put $15K in it, and now the house just sold down the street for $330. So I mean, but I did all the work myself in 3.5 weeks. So it was a lot of fun. I'm sorry if anyone knew me in that time, I was not friendly. But I also, you know, I have very modest taste. I'm not in the kitchen a lot. I know, don't make a joke, whatever. But I use laminate tops. I mean, I really wasn't, why take your cabinets laminate tops? It wasn't a priority for granted or anything like that. I mean, I, you know, probably used my stove 15 times in 2 years. So, I mean, I didn't have to go with the nicest stuff. With my rentals, I mean, I've got, you know, I've still got rentals that have smart refrigerators and stuff like that. And I'm charging $13.50 a month at this location. You know, I mean, it just really depends on location, preference, but this house I'm working on right now. My own personal flip in South Knoxville, bought it for $105. I looked at it and said, oh, it's $9,900 all day long, and then I'll turn around and sell it for $3. Well, the market's changed a little bit. I put $125 in it, and I'm getting ready to list it for $324.9. But I know the taste and style of South Knoxville. I've spent a little bit more on some stuff, and some other stuff I'm okay. They'd rather have privacy be in Knox County. You know, I don't have to have perfect landscaping in the back because there's 1.7 acres, and somebody else is going to do something like that.
Sure.
So it just also depends on, you know, if you're working for a client as a GC, you got to make sure the client's happy.
Yeah.
If you're working for yourself, you got to make sure you're happy with the final product and it sells, obviously. Don't cheap out, but obviously just keep in mind, you know, I've actually never put granite in a flip. I know I've done 20 the past 5 years. I did put stone in one, but that was a client's request. And then I was so freaking tiny, we had to make up for it.
What price point are the flips?
Anywhere from 150 to 4. So it just depends on, but I mean, depending on what they wanted to do.
Sure.
Yeah. So, I did several, like, starting out little condo flips, you know, you spend 10 and you make 30 and you're going down the road. But yeah, I mean, I haven't done any sort of granted or anything like that, but also I work in primarily north and south anytime. I don't play a whole lot in the south.
That's the market. Jimmy had to leave. That's
Yeah.
the different market where it's all West Knoxville, Twin Valley, Fairhaven. And you go the opposite way there. Where people pay for taste.
And the listings I'm selling my Knoxville, they prefer granite, so it makes sense.
So major remodel, last one here, basic remodel plus roof, HVAC, deck, porch. Complete, we're doing major plumbing and electrical. That's where you're coming in and saying, hey, I'm just gonna budget for replacing all of this. You know, I mean, we're adding a bath. We're doing a second kitchen. Might be finishing a basement there. So you got a project where you're like, hey, how am I gonna maximize this? And how am I gonna get more out of it? Well, I'm gonna add some square footage, or I'm gonna add something that's gonna increase the value of this home, right? What this is gonna add, if I'm talking for a major remodel, it's gonna add something, an element to the property doesn't currently exist, whether it's that kitchen, whether that's that bathroom, whether it's that finished basement, right? And it usually is gonna involve significant framing and structural work. So, you know, just replaced all the doors in a flip that we're doing on Ashland. You know, it's a 95-year-old house. The install on that was $500 a door. Everything involved structural work and framing. When we pulled out the window, we had to redo. There was all this wood rot in there, and replace a bunch of wood, replace siding. You know, I think we'll end up spending about $50,000 on that one to do new roof, new windows, new gutters, new siding, new kitchen, new bathroom. We finished the hardwoods, paint the interior and the exterior, fix the fence to add some value because they've got rear access to the 3/4 acres, right? And then put a new sidewalk in. I'm curious, when I do flips, I like to look at, personally, from selling to residential real estate, I have found that people will get emotional. It's just like cars. And if you give them luxury features, they will pay every dollar they can possibly borrow again. Because they're shopping off payment, they're not shopping off price. So, you know, we set that record there, and I anticipate this one's 800 square feet will probably sell for at least 200. Over behind the zoo. Yeah, right. There you go, exactly, right? Because it's a place I want to live in, the finishes are there. So that's just different perspective. I just feel like they're very, very inexpensive. But a realtor, and I already have all the resources to market it professionally. I've got a big database, so I'm less worried about, I can make it up on selling it for more. So if I didn't have that, and I was a paying realtor controlling costs, then I'd go the other way. It makes me easier. Cool. 600 square foot. Thoughts, questions?
Yeah.
Yes.
I was gonna say the flip that I just did with Chris on Martell Road.
Yes, please.
We paid like 145 or 146 for the house. I think it was about 21 or 2200 square feet. We went in for just about another 140. So I mean, those numbers were spot on, about $65.
Yep.
And we sold for 410. We did good. I mean, we probably set that neighborhood. But the numbers were spot on, like exactly what you have on the screen. I was just thinking about that.
Yeah. No.
And we did it, and we did everything. I mean, roof, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, everything that's on that list had to be done.
If you haven't met Cory, Cory is obsessed with real estate. Cory will send me his plan to like buy the Regency Inn and convert it at 11 o'clock at night, or he'll be sending me waterfront property in like Gulf Shores, Alabama, or yeah, he's a maniac. So
Still would love to do that Regency Inn. I'm telling you, that's a good move for somebody.
We're gonna be Mary's Knoxville. It's coming. I'm there with you. No, so I think it's a great one. Last thing though, because this is equally important, right? Square footage. Like if we're doing this price for square footage can really change this. How do you figure out square footage of the house, right? Start with the MLS information. Look at past listings. If there's a big discrepancy in there, pay attention. It's not like realtors are always checking. I've had this happen on $1 million listings before where the square footage is wildly off, right? So what you're looking at, if you haven't seen this before, there's gonna be a field when you're looking in the MLS. If you're just, a regular person, you're not an agent, it's the above ground, finished, total square footage. That's the number we're looking for in terms of this, right? We're not looking for the rest of the square footage. We're not counting unfinished space. We're not counting garage space. Because it's not gonna count when you sell. For better or worse, unfortunately, that's typically coming from the real estate agent. So just keep that in mind. You can pull tax records. On the tax records, right, you want to get the highest number from your building area description. Okay? Total building area is best. That's the one you're looking for. Some often, depending on the system, they're gonna be able to see a sketch as well of that property. Right? You want to look at that sketch and they'll give you a match up, make sure it makes some sense to you, right? Or you can use total finished square foot plus any square foot amount listed in another room. Sometimes they break it out, right? Total finished square footage, then you'll have like finished basement or something. You might combine it a little bit. You can also look at basement square foot plus any square foot listed in basement plus your other room, right? Or you can take square footage from your main floor and multiply by the number of floors. A couple of different ways you can pull it. Keep in mind your tax, when they're doing taxes, they don't go inside that house. They measure from the outside. They don't work too hard here in Knox County. I wouldn't necessarily trust that too much either, right? What you're trying to figure out is what's the highest logical number of square foot. You can always spend less money. You don't want to get in there and have a budget and find out like, oh no, it's 400 more square feet than I thought, right? If you're already under contract, you can pay an appraiser to come out and give some sort of access to this and measure the property for you. It's very inexpensive, it's less than $100. I recommend, if you don't know, it is worth the investment. So it's some idea of what you're doing, right? So last things on square footage. Final number of the tax record may not be the most accurate. Actual measurement is best. The tax records are pretty consistent, or they are useful. I think most of the time, I think they're with existing properties. I haven't gotten screwed too bad. Would you all disagree? It's new construction. I find I can sometimes get wildly off.
So
I've seen some pretty bad ones.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
it really just depends. I've noticed that tax records usually take a little while to update. So what I've noticed is, tax records from last year could be different. They could have turned, a back porch into a bedroom like they did on my house, and that added, extra square footage. So it's not correct from the previous tax records versus what they're selling now. So they could have done a minor flip somewhere in the past and it's not had time to update.
Yep.
Because I've noticed that they are very delayed with that. You have people, they're getting tax bills with the previous seller's name and it's been a year because they're that far behind. So that's something that I did notice. So just really try to pay attention to what's on the MLS mostly is what I would go off of, because the agents are going to try to calculate that in when they're listing it as well.
You can also, there's some tools you can use to estimate square footage from above, right? So property taxes have some ability to measure distances from point to point. You can use that tool to try to figure out what the footprint of the house is. You could use Eagle View, right? Pretty inexpensive, $12 is what roofers use. You can order that one pretty easily and that'll give you a takeoff of exactly what you're doing with total square footage as well as roof, stuff like that. Yeah, and then tax records and MLS come directly from local jurisdictions. So just keep that in mind, depending on the county you're dealing in, it's going to be staffed a little differently, may or may not be accurate. Boom. Anybody got any questions for anyone in the room? We can wrap this thing up too and just do some networking and formula. Unless someone's got a question I want to ask. Yes.
So I was wondering your thoughts for a rental grade. For example, my parents bought a rental, it needed a new porch and we built it ourselves. Would you all consider that a necessary thing for a rental, or is that like a turn off from buying that kind of place?
I don't think it's a turn off. I think it just depends on your philosophy as a landlord, right? Jason, all the stuff you do, you renovated kind of fully, right? From the beginning.
Yeah, I do it pretty much like it would be a fix and flip.
Yeah. Because with the philosophy there is right, so I'm gonna have less cost of maintenance over time, because I'm gonna get a better tenant, and I'm gonna have better finishes that are more durable.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, as times went on, I've gotten better and better with or not better necessarily, but I do hire in rehabs now because I'm doing the Burr method where I'll refinance out, and I'll figure it doesn't matter if I do granite because I'm getting paid back for it, kind of, when I refinance. And yeah, better quality tenants, easier to manage, less maintenance. So the last year or so, I'm mostly like completely gutting stuff to the studs, and it's when I'm finished, it looks like a new construction house, and then I'm renting it.
I don't think it's a waste. You know, for example, I was just looking at like putting a fire pit in the back. I think it was just functional use of the home. Like, because if it doesn't cost that much and it enhances the functional use of the home,
Yeah.
I'm usually gonna lean in that direction from having done property management. Like I came into a place in Fountain City that we bought, rent roll was all fake. They were selling drugs in there. The guy that was buying it was tied up in a divorce, so we ended up floating for him as agents, you know, manages 19-unit apartment complex, like floating the utility deposit. And then I was trying to renovate individual units with just like the little amount of cash that I had and deal with like, you know, oh, that guy's selling drugs to that guy's girlfriend, so they got in a fight, trying to burn the unit down, right? Like, what am I doing to build this thing up? And I mean, it makes psychology goes a long way. Like a huge, like just the fact of being out there, being present, going and talking to everyone, telling them what I was gonna do, then following through with it, and making sure it was something that I want to live in, attracted a very different class of tenant. Like, you gotta move the needle in the direction that you want to. So I don't know, but I've seen plenty of places that are, you know, not what I would do, but they're clean and it's functional and everything works, you know, and I might overspend sometimes. Does anybody else just do about an entry level basic renovation for the rentals?
And so our kitchen needs to be redone.
Sure.
We did redo the bathroom.
Yeah.
And we definitely screened with the tenant. We were flexible on dogs. So she has 2 pit bulls, so we got a really excellent tenant because of her dogs.
Sure.
But we're planning on redoing the kitchen before we rent it after that. So we're kind of doing like a middle right now, so we can do a bit more.
But then Savannah was saying, right, you're not doing that. So what are you spending money on? You're not wasting money on laminate counters and stuff like that, which might feel good, but what are you spending money on?
Biggest thing is, I mean, I'm still a big fan of carpet in bedrooms, honestly. You know, I mean, I'll still take a pet deposit that's at least $500. And you're in a 1-bedroom, you know, 1,000 in a 2-bedroom. And here's the thing, if you're happy in both of those bedrooms for a solid year, I can replace that carpet for $1,000 total. You know, I mean, and that's something, I mean, yeah, LVP is great and it's awesome, but it's also, you know, it's something to just have to float the difference. You know, I bought rental property that was completely remodeled when I came into it. I bought rental property that after 2 years, I'm probably gonna go in and redo the kitchen. But for now, you know, it's making you money, and that's the biggest thing, because you've just spent a significant amount of money to get a property, and you're like, oh my gosh, I have another mortgage to pay this month, what am I doing? So what you probably would want to do is just go ahead and get the money there and just stay with it. Yeah, at least a year. I don't do any major life altering stuff to a rental property for a year. Now, let's, I mean, all day long, but rentals, yeah, let's make some money first, you know.
Sure. Good question. Anybody else got any questions? Zach, thoughts? This has been the not most interactive class, so I'd love to hear.
I've got one. So when you're looking at, you talked a little bit about, as long as I buy it right, I'm okay if I'm a little off on my renovations. With the current market conditions being what they are and the cost of materials being what they are, what does that buy box look like? Is it 70% rule, or are you towards more like 80?
I'm not buying. I know that's a crappy answer. If I was gonna buy, which I did buy more than ever before last year, and that's really the main reason I'm not buying. It's not because prices are so high. I'm overwhelmed with, I've got too many houses sitting that are waiting for me to renovate that I've got mortgage payments on, but in general, what I've done is kind of weird, because it's the majority of stuff that I bought as buy and holds, it's seller finance with like 5,000 down. I buy it for average deals like 5,000 down payment, $60,000, $70,000 purchase price, and a 20 or 25-year note with 5% fixed interest. So I can justify buying something that's like 10% under market value, if those are the terms, right? So if you get those insane terms that I've just gotten lucky with and stumbled into a ton through, doing off-market marketing, like wholesaler style marketing, like looking for stuff that's not listed, or, pretty much looking for crappy landlords with crappy tenants and crappy houses in good areas. That's who I'm, so if you seek those people out and you say, hey, I'll deal with everything, I'll get the tenant out, you don't have to do anything, then you can find those deals. But otherwise, if I was going to buy cash, which I've bought a lot of properties cash also in a separate kind of business, I've had a business partner as well so my personal portfolio is all seller finance, and with my business partner, we just split everything 50-50, and he pays for everything with his cash. So I've done a lot of purchases with cash over the years too, where it's not my cash, it's my partner's. And usually it's, 70% of ARV is what I'm looking. So if it's going to appraise for $100,000 after it's completely rehabbed, and which that's nothing now, I know, but let's say, if it's going to appraise for $200,000 after it's completely done, that's 140 all in. So there's a 60,000 equity at the end of it.
So 140 less your repair cost estimates.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And again, this is for buying, fixer upper rentals, which is way more forgiving of a business than doing fix and flips.
So if you're doing seller finance or like subject to, you're able to get into it with a little bit less margin because
Subject
terms are just so good.
Yeah, a subject to can be no margin. Like there can be no equity. And if I'm just like my primary residence, I bought subject to, and I just paid the people $2,000 just to do the deal. And then I took over their mortgage payments. Like I think it would have appraised for like 160, and what they owed on it was 140. And I was ecstatic to do it. I was more than, that's not even a 10%, right? So, but still, that's a different.
Yeah.
So with creative financing, it's like the opportunities are
You
endless.
require a lot more property in this current market.
Yeah.
So final thoughts here, we're gonna wrap this up. Cory, we can cut off the recording after this, right?
Yep.
I'll let you jump in and say what you gotta say, but thank you all for being here. If I give you one piece of advice on your first flip, do not do it alone. I repeat that, do not do it alone. There's nothing to gain from doing it alone. I say this as someone that's been on a real estate team, who lasted why I was on a real estate team, because I spent all of these years working with other people and I got invaluable experience. Like you couldn't pay for the experience that I've had. I've got to work with people that were world class and all these different things that they did. So I'd rather make less money on that first one, hedge my risk with someone else, because it's really about not losing. You might not make a ton of money on the first one, but you won't lose everything if you partner with someone who's experienced. And there's a lot of people out here that'll joint venture with you. I see some heads nodding here. They're totally willing to come in here and work a deal with you if you can find that deal.
The first deal is valuable just with the experience.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. But I think that's if you're doing a rental, I think, fantastic all day long. It is very forgiving. You can throw a renter in here. It's an insane renters market. It shouldn't be that big of a deal. Get a home inspection and be fine. On a flip, it is very, very different. It can go sideways a lot of different ways. And managing construction right now is so difficult. Would y'all agree? The biggest piece that I think here we've talked about is just labor. Like access to labor and labor showing up and getting things done. That is the biggest wild
It's whole time too.
Is that?
It's whole time. It's
Yes.
or he's waiting on his refrigerator after a year. It's exciting. And one of the other things I point out is don't fudge your numbers as far as, hey, if you think it's going to cost $60 a square foot, don't go, well, maybe if it only costs $50 a square foot. And we've all been there because we want to get it done, right? And I still do that. But you probably should go, it's probably going to cost $65 a square foot. That's the biggest, that's one of the bigger, I still fall into that trap too. Well, if I can sell it for 300 instead of 275, and then you start convincing yourself it's a good deal.
It's easy to do.
Yeah.
So easy. It's so tempting.
And the last piece is you make your money when you buy a deal. That is when you make all your money in this game, is when you acquire a deal. you know, that property we earned 50K on, should have been, thought it was gonna be 30, but we bought it for 91. You know, that's where we made, so no matter what, I know it's gonna be okay. It doesn't matter what happens, I'm kind of gonna be just fine. We're gonna walk away, we're gonna be in the black, you know? I'll take that all day. Well, maybe make less money than we expected. So, Cory, wanna wrap us up? Anything you wanna talk about?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, there was definitely some good takeaways. You're right. It is very easy to kind of convince yourself that it might come in like a little bit cheaper. I've always tried to aim a little bit higher when it comes to kind of estimating my costs, because I would rather just have that in the forefront of my head. I'll kind of take that higher range of estimate, and if I can get it done for a little bit cheaper, like cool. Just so you're not caught at the end. Definitely want to thank everybody for kind of jumping in on this. I would say, like, as just kind of a quick takeaway, please, you know, go on to Facebook, go on to meetup.com, you know, leave us a review, you know, tell other people about it. I mean, if there's anyone you think that would benefit from this, like, I'm just encouraging, please have them come check us out. Go to gridknoxville.com and sign up. Next month's meeting is going to be Tuesday, May 3rd. We're going to be talking about just how to negotiate the deal, kind of identifying and qualifying those motivated sellers. So looking into factors of what's creating that motivation and how we can kind of help solve their problems at the end of the day when it comes to getting a good deal. So definitely think that's going to be a really good one to be at overall. Yeah, you can do that at gridknoxville.com.
Love it.